True story. I remember my grandmother, Ruth Olivia Ingram, who was my first love. When it was time for me to get baptized, and it was at 11th Street Baptist Church, and that was with Reverend White and First Lady Sister White. And I could have been like 8, maybe. And I just remember, it's kind of foggy, but I remember it was me and my grandmother was there with the rest of the people, and it was just like I was supposed to go up there myself and accept Jesus as my Lord and my Savior and be baptized, I guess. But for me, I had no idea what was going on. So I'm asking her, like, do I go now? And she was just like looking at me, beautiful as ever, going, you go when you're ready. But in my head, I'm thinking, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be ready for. I don't know what ready, I don't know. Just whatever I'm here for, tell me. I'll do what you want me to do. Because obviously whatever you're telling me has always been for my benefit and it's always been good. So I don't need to question it. Just what do I do now? And she kept saying, well, you go when you're ready to go. And I believe it was like you got 3 days to choose or something like that. So I kept waiting for her to tell me, on your mark, get set, ready, go. But she wouldn't do it. So I finally got up and went. Just because I knew she said whenever you want to. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go now. And I remember the Reverend White and them like, oh, he's chosen Jesus. But I didn't know what was going on. I knew who Jesus was. Jesus was was God, it was, the white guy on that picture, the God, is who I'm choosing now as my Savior, because he is my grandmother's Savior, and she tells us what's real, so it's real. And I remember it got scheduled, and we were at the Salvation Army, out in the village. We was at the Salvation Army in the lake where I got baptized that day. And I remember my mom, Rosie, she was crying and everything, and they dunked me in the water and everything. And I remember thinking, what the hell are we doing? What is this? Why is this? This water's dirty, this water's cold. What are you crying for? Okay, now what do I get? Like, I just remember thinking that. But it just goes to show how people are just doing what they know. Because I remember taking and this is true too, I remember taking my daughter up to my sister, Angie McCraney's husband's church. Ron McCraney passed away a couple years ago. But the reason why Angie's my sister is because her father is my father, Leo Darrington. And we got together years ago and became still close to this day. But when it was time for me to get my baby Zion baptized, went to his church. And I remember going through the same motions just because it was just what you were supposed to do. Not that it was something that I loved and that I just was fulfilled with it. It never did that. It was just, okay, we got to do this. It's par for the course. So, and I remember when it happened, and I'm taking pictures of Zion, and It felt just like when I got baptized. It felt just like, what the hell am I doing this for? And that's really how I've always been. I've always kind of like questioned it, but just went along with it. I've always been that way, I must say. And my earliest memory of questioning it was, we were back to 11th Street. It was me, my cousin Kevin, and Lucretia Powell. I believe her name was Powell. We're in Sunday school in Sister White's class, Reverend White's wife, First Lady Sister White, in her class of Sunday school one day. And I remember this just like it was yesterday. I asked Sister White, and oh my God, I think back on this, and I couldn't have been 10. If I was, it is what it is, but I couldn't have been 10. And I remember saying to her, I was like, well, Sister White, if God made everything, who made God? And I remember she was explaining it to me. But Kevin and Lucretia was just dogging me out. They were laughing and making so much fun of me, like I was just the most ignorant person in the world, that I couldn't hear Sister White. I remember acting like I was listening to her, but I was really listening to Kevin. I was really listening to Kevin and Lucretia. But that is the truth. I wanted to make sense out of it. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what that's been on me. But I've always questioned it. I've never, even when I was wholesale just walking the walk, I wasn't doing it by just straight love of it. I wasn't just in love with it. It was just, that's what you do. Kind of like when you just go get your car registered. It's just what you do. But I've always been that way. So the thing that I was in Texas, and this young man named Chad Brown, he said to me, he was like, bruh, I think you will benefit by listening to Farrakhan. And I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to hear Farrakhan. Ain't nothing but a racist. You know, I'm thinking about that dude. But he was like, no, man, you can just listen to him, man. I think you the type, man, that can get into it. And I remember thinking like, okay, man, just you know, what you got? And he gave me, this was back when there was VCR tapes. He gave me some VCR tapes. And I remember thinking like, I'll take them. In my head, I was like, I'll take them home, wait a couple days, act like I watched it, tell him I ain't really like it, and give it back to him. And so I had them for a couple of days, but I was bored one day. So I actually put it in. And plus two, I thought, if he asks me like, okay, what'd you hear? I have to give him something. So I put it in. And Farrakhan was talking about the Mike Tyson rape case, of how the girl lied on him and stuff like that. And I remember turning it off like, man, think about this dude. And I did exactly what I said. I gave it back to him and was like, I ain't feeling it. But something kept pulling me back. And so I just started looking for Farrakhan on my own. Listening, he was just making sense because he was talking about historical events. Like, you thought that this man, I remember he was talking about being free and being emancipated and the difference, and why it's called the Emancipation Proclamation. And it just was just driving all this information into me, and I just started wanting more and more and more. And what kept me off of him after that was when he kept saying Jesus was just a prophet. I'm like, man, what you talking about? So that kind of kept me off of him, but I was listening because I liked the historical part. I really love history anyway, and he was just like giving me all these brand new great points of history. So I messed with him for a while, but the major key for me was where it says only 144,000 people are gonna make it. And I remember going, man, If only 144,000 people want to make it, and there are 6 billion people on Earth today, the odds of that are crazy. But what about the people that has died already? What about all the people that's ever been on Earth? They got to get judged too. So if the biggest number is no million. So if all the people that's ever been on this Earth has to be judged, that number could be no million. And so 144,000 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, no million. What's the odds? What's the odds? It's 0% chance. 0% chance. It's like one person every 6 centuries is going to make it. So what's the odds of this? It's impossible for me to think I can make it. But I got to take a shot. So I got to look at this religion hard and figure out which one is real, because there's so many of them. And if Christianity can't be that real, because there's millions and millions and millions of people in it, and only 144,000 people gonna make it, so all of them, they must be wrong. So I looked at all the religions. Didn't stop at Catholics, because I knew that was nuts. I knew that. Went back into Islam, went to Rastafari and all these places. But the one place I kept skipping and not going to, and there's a reason why we didn't go, is because we are all told that Egypt is the land of bondage and it's bad and all this. But in my quest to figure out what happened in Love and History, all roads led to Egypt. And then when you get to Egypt, you start seeing that everything that we know was predated. Everything that we have been taught that started here actually started before, thousands of years before, with the very first civilization, which is Egypt. And once I went there, I knew this is real. And then once you start seeing that that's real, and Asar Senheru is first, and that was all based on the sun. And then the Greeks came in and turned it into Osiris, Isis, and Horus, and then it just turned, the Christians turned it into Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. I was just floored, because I'm like, this can't be real. And it took me a while to accept it. It took me some years to accept it, because you put it back down. You're like, no, that can't be real. But it is real, because sifting through all this complex evidence that's been scattered, and when you put it back together, you say, you've been duped. And it hurt. It hurt me. But then you start saying, okay, I gotta make sure, I gotta tell everybody. I gotta make everybody know, especially the people that I love, the people that I like. I want them to know too. But the people that I love, I have to tell them. So that's what I do. Try to let everybody know and tell them exactly where to get it from. And hope that they come to the same conclusion that I do. I don't have no problem with speaking and talking intelligently to anybody. So I would love to have a conversation about it with anybody at any time. But just know that when you really do research and you really look, you're going to Egypt.